I'm very glad that you're tuned into our today's show of the Straight Talk program. A very warm welcome and thank you so much for staying with KTS. I'm your host, Regina Olado, and with me in the show today is our resident political analyst, Benjamin Olenja. And today we are going to interrogate different issues that have happened in the political front. So stay tuned to the show. Mr. Olenja, thank you so much for coming for the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, kindly to start us off on the show, we know that a lot has really happened in the political arena. Of course, we've had the IALA issue, we've had the NASA politics, the Jubilee politics. And just to start us off, let's talk about the maize scandal that has really attracted different perceptions from people. What do you really understand on the maize scandal?
When we talk about the maize scandal and we look at the current timing in our country, we have just elections 2 months and a few days ahead of us. The people are hungry, they need food, and the people or the players in the market who are supposed to ensure that food is available, one is the government, two are the millers or the sellers or the business community, and then the third important person is the buyer or the consumer, who also happens to be the voter. And you see, in the issue of the maize scandal in our country, the government at the moment is been saying that we had a long period of a drought, something that is not true. You see, when the drought began, harvests had already been gathered. That means if somebody was keen enough food could have been stored, enough measures could have been put in place, and then we could not be having a problem with food. But because it is an election year, you realize that somebody must gain from this. And especially when you are in the power, you are able to change things to favor yourself. For instance, we were told that maize will come from Mexico. I know that those people were saying that they didn't say Mexico, there were some funny terms.
Sure.
But you realize, when they said that, they said that in a period of 1 month. If 1 month was to go with the timing they were saying those things, you realize that the 3 days that the maize was said to have come at the port of Mombasa was a very short period. Because how was it tendered? Who was involved? And how was that the person who was given the opportunity to import it? Did he follow the rightful procedures according to the procedures of tendering? Those are some of the questions we need to ask. But to make this matter, maybe to come straight to the point, I will just say, like, it is trying to appease a certain percentage of voters so that they can vote in a given way come 8th of August.
Right.
So that we are telling them that we have reduced the price of maize from 150 to 90 shillings in terms of flour. But you know what? Flour, packeted flour, is only consumed in urban centers.
Sure.
Mostly in urban centers, and not all urban centers. When you come to places like Western, in Nyanza, and some parts of Rift Valley, people take their grain to the posho mill and then to their homes. But millers do this for the urban community. Therefore, when you tell Kenyans that you have given them a subsidy, you have reduced the prices of flour, which Kenyans have you done this for? That's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Okay,
and just as you put it right, that maybe there are some people are reading some foreplay in the entire issue, but in a recent debate in Parliament, we saw MPs arguing out on whether the subsidy was supposed to be on millers or to farmers. According to you, who between the two could have received that subsidy?
The farmer, the miller, both of them should benefit actually. But when you look at the current scenario, it looks like the person who has benefited from this is not the farmer per se, but the miller, because you realize that the maize that is being subsidized, it has been subsidized on the side of the miller. You see, when you come to economic challenges, when you come to periods of economic turmoil, the government should be able, or has the authority and power to change things so that the local person or the mwananchi, the citizen, can be able to access a product so that life can continue in an easier manner.
Okay.
However, when you look in the scenario of the miller, the farmer, and even the consumer, we realize that though we are saying that we are subsidizing even for the farmer, we are not actually done that, because we have reused the money of the taxpayer. The taxpayer who has given this money is the same money that has been used to subsidize these prices. And then when the prices have come down, the low prices have been put in place, we are giving back to the consumer to buy it at 90 shillings. Yet the same one has already catered for the very thing by subsidizing through taxation. And even the 91 is still taxed. So when we look at the whole scenario, we realize that it is kind of a good thing for the moment, for those people who are in turmoil. But again, what about the realness of the deal?
Do you think, because you're saying that it's the millers that were given this subsidy, so do you think that there were certain cartels that were involved in the entire process? Of course, we've had people from the government saying that the maize didn't really come from Mexico direct. It came from Mexico, then to South Africa, then to Kenya. So do you think cartels were involved with the whole thing?
What I can begin with is like to say, you saw the ministry, the leader, I think it's the PS, not the PS, the secretary, saying that we have now received the maize a day. We are going to ensure that this maize is produced and everything is done so that it is given to the people to use it. But again, the following day, he categorically says that they have already done the milling. That's a question to ask ourselves. If it's a good arrived at the port today, how was it dispatched? How was it offloaded? The processes that are involved. It was not a simple consignment. It was huge. And therefore, this process from there, the process of downloading it, taking it now to the millers and all that, how was it done? If that process was not followed, then it means that somebody was at the back of all this. He was still using some measures to put some things in place, yet we know the process that is being followed is not keenly followed. And therefore, we look at this and we say, then if the government is not able to tell us, then they have some people who are doing this for their own good, for their own. When you read from other politicians in the public, especially from the opposition, you realize they are telling us that this deal or this issue, the whole scandal of maize and everything, that now it's not yet a scandal, but after some time it is likely going to be a mega one, because that's the nature of our country sometimes. So when we look at it all, you realize they are telling us that the monies or somebody has been given a deal so that it can help in financing a campaign in a given direction. Okay. And if this is the real thing, then we are feeling pitiful for the common man, because the price of maize, I wonder why we have focused so much on maize, because there are other products like milk, there are other products in the market that people consume them, like sugar and all that. What has been done, especially to milk at the moment? We realize nothing has been done. The price is still up. It's not yet gone down. So we should look at it and know that it is a political thing, but it can be corrected if the leaders can have the goodwill. Okay. Yeah.
And again, some Kenyans are also being very cautious of the fact that the prices were drastically lowered, and their feeling is that they may be lowered as of now, but after 8th August, they will still shoot up. That is, suppose it's just a political thing. So, what do you think about this?
There's a lot of worry in the community out here, and in the nation at large, that maybe Jubilee has done this to hoodwink us, to vote back it in power. And then after we have voted them back into power, they will again take the prices up. Right. Because you know, in our country, we have what we call a free market economy, whereby if I have my product, I set the prices alone. For example, you realize I can sell a phone to you in Nairobi at a different price, and because I am the one regulating that price, I will sell the same phone to another person who is not you at a different price, because I am the one that is managing that. And therefore, at this point, the government has subsidized the commodity. When it will come after elections, it might tell us we did not budget for subsidy. You see that? And then after they have said that, and we have a free market economy, the traders out there will say, we have invested a lot in this, we need a feedback, we need something that can be back for us. And therefore you realize that the prices are likely to go back to where they have been if something is not done. And remember, like in the current scenario, there are those taxes, there are those duty that is supposed to be levied on this commodity. You remember Parliament was brought together quickly, they discussed this thing, they removed all those things of taxation, and then the product was delivered into the market. And that is where also some MPs have been saying, and I saw it from the MP of Kiminini, the brother, I think it's called Chris Wamalwa. He was saying that they were called as parliamentarians, they discussed this thing, they passed the issue, and then only to realize that they were used to pass the bill, the thing on maize importation, so that they remove those regulations so that somebody sells it freely and earns huge profits. And you see, that is scary. So when we are looking into the next level of our politics in the country, we are looking at it from this point of view, asking the president to come out clear and to assure Kenyans that it is not something that is just for this period. Although we know that in such times of elections, such is likely to happen. Okay,
thank you so much, Mr. Olenja, for that, the sentiments. But as a political analyst, from where you sit, as a political analyst, do you think our government or the Jubilee government is doing enough in terms of ensuring that there's food security in Kenya?
Jubilee government, the issue of a country experiencing droughts, hunger, are not new. There's those measures that are put in place to postulate what may happen in future. And therefore, they have done some things, and when you look even at the way the government is speaking about its delivery, you realize that it's mostly speaking about infrastructure. But people also need to be attended to about their welfare issues. And therefore, what I can say about our government is that it has concentrated majorly on a large project that does not directly affect all the citizens of the country, and especially the issue of the railway, the issue of the roads, the issue of the mega things that they have put their minds on and forgetting the real issues of the Mwananchi. Okay. You remember there was this issue of the irrigation scheme, the Galana one, and you see some Kenyans have read malice from the same, because the output that was brought from this Galana scheme is very little compared to the input that was put there. And that's where the question comes that the government, through the leadership of our president, has not been able to see to it that they are able to focus on issues that can help the local man. Therefore, from my point of view, I'll say it has not really done much, but it has politicked enough. Because there has been a time whereby you find, instead of Jubilee government responding to issues, it has been saying that we are not able to do this because of Raila. We are not able to do this because of the opposition. We are not able to do this. You see, when a government is subjected to giving excuses because of the other wing of the political situation in the country, you realize that that government is failed or is failing. Right. And therefore, I think it's high time for Kenyans to look at the government seriously in the face and say, we gave you a chance, or you forced yourself in, and then after these periods that you have been in, you have not been able to meet the expectations of the Kenyans. Do you know that it is not only in the opposition parts that people are feeling the pinch of the hard life in this country? Sure. The standards of living have gone to an unmanageable levels, and it is affecting both Kikuyus, Luos, Kalenjins, Luyas, and every other tribe in our country. And therefore, we need to look at it and see to it clearly that we have, before this Jubilee government came, we were at a certain level. Today we are at a certain level. How has this level helped us as individuals and as communities?
Yeah. All right. And apart from the Mexico maize scandal or the Mexico, as funny Kenyans put it, let's look at the IALA issue, the East African Legislative Assembly. Of course, you understand that the current members are supposed to be taking or getting out of the assembly come.
The term is expiring.
The term is expiring come next month, and of course this only means that we need more members in the assembly. And we've seen proposals from the two parties, that's Jubilee and NASA. And there was a proposal by the opposition. Of course, they presented 4 names, and among the 4 names is Kennedy Musyoka. And we've really had the Jubilee party members, especially the leader of majority, Aden Duale, saying that, you know what, we can't have Kennedy Musyoka in that assembly. So do you think this is fair that politicians also want to attack or their counterparts, children? Or what do you think about the whole issue of wanting not to have Kennedy Musyoka in the assembly?
What I can see or what I can read in this issue is that politics has come at its negative point. I wouldn't like celebrate that we bring our brothers and sisters per se, but you see, all of us are Kenyans, and there is those provisions of the constitution that allow political organizations like parties, that allow individuals as citizens to be able to make certain recommendations and decisions. And therefore, given the Jubilee side, given the code, they are using the code side, they are using that to bring these names. And then you realize each and every area has been given its rightful share, because the government of its strength has been given more slots compared to the opposition. And therefore, in the opposition you have various parties, and it is through these parties that you are receiving these names. The names that have brought contention from this list are coming from code because of the way the government side is feeling about. And they are saying that we need to have politics of tribalism, nepotism and all that. And they are forgetting that they are in their positions because of the same processes of nepotism, tribalism, and the way we look at each other as the person who can offer to me.
So it's just an issue of trying to apply double standards.
It's just applying. It is the same thing that is happening. Look at around the people who have been in the nominations recently. Some people have lost because they are not connected to so and so. And it's now, when we come to this Kennedy Musyoka, we look at Ken. He's a son of a former vice president, yes, we don't refuse. He's a son to a co-principal in NASA, yes. But if his party has seen that is the best person to represent the interests of their party at Yala and the interests of the country Kenya, then let the due process be followed. And if he does not merit, let him be put aside. Okay. But if he merits, like the cousins and the brothers and the sisters to other politicians merited in other areas, let this one be given his rightful opportunity to prove himself right or wrong.
Okay.
When it comes to Judy Pareno, maybe somebody can ask, why has she been given an opportunity? Maybe the ODM fraternity thought it good to give a lady a chance.
Okay.
And that lady, having been one of their own who has helped them to come to such a level as a political organization, and maybe they are looking at her experience, the experience that she can offer when she's given a chance at here.
Thank you so much for those sentiments. The Straight Talk program takes a short break, but stay right there with KTS.